Lockdown, social distancing, quarantine. These are terms that have become a part of our lexicon since the start of the coronavirus pandemic.
We're about to experience the greatest pandemic of the generation since polio.
Italy's government took the extraordinary step of locking down much of the northern part of the country.
The positive impact of social distancing.
Since the first case of the coronavirus was reported to the World Health Organization on December 31st, 2019, more than 2 million people have been infected worldwide. Nearly 4 billion people around the world, or about half of humanity, have been placed on varying degrees of lockdown. So how are people around the world coping with this drastic change to our lifestyle? And what will life look like when this is all over? That's Elena Perazzi. She has been quarantined in her home in Venice since March 9th, when Italy became the first democratic country to implement a nationwide shutdown since World War II.
The first few days has been the scary time. I was imagining how it could be Venice during the wartime. And then I realized it never been like this. This moment of the history is unique. The city never been so empty. During the war, everybody are affected in some way. During this virus, everyone live in a different way. Everyone got his own reality. No matter what happened in the war, you never die alone.
From morning to evening, could you describe what you do?
Yeah. I just get out to start the day and to feel the difference between day and night. I prepare my breakfast, I work a bit at my computer, and I study a bit.
Shortly after Italy's full lockdown, other European countries followed as well. The restrictions included a ban on public gatherings, school closures, and a shutdown of all but essential businesses. But why a lockdown, and what makes it effective? The purpose of a lockdown is to break the chain of transmission through social distancing. This will reduce the average number of infections from a confirmed case. So in theory, under a lockdown, a confirmed case would go on to infect only one other person, or even better, 0. That's better than that person infecting 2, 3, even 4 other people, which is the average reproductive rate of COVID-19. Take a look at this graph. It shows the trajectory of cases in 2 separate cities in Italy, Lodi and Bergamo. Lodi instituted a lockdown on the 23rd of February and Bergamo on the 8th of March. By then, the daily total number of new cases in Lodi had begun to stabilize, while those in Bergamo spiked. Across the border, the French are also under lockdown. I caught up with Jessica Ligero, who has been isolating with her boyfriend Marcelo Anjos in Paris since the government instituted its lockdown on March 17th.
That day, it was crazy. People running to buy things. Pasta and toilet paper were starting to end, but there were still a lot of things to buy. But the queues to the lines to pay were like endless. Whenever you have to go out, you have to sign a certificate and like saying where you're going, what you're doing. Just you can only do the things that they listed.
With swaths of Europe under lockdown, it has triggered a lot of uncertainty about when and how people can return to some semblance of normalcy.
What I miss the most is the freedom to do whatever I want. Move around the country, visit friends.
While there are a lot of questions about how long these lockdowns will last, what is certain is the economic impact of them. The International Monetary Fund estimates that the global economy will shrink by 3% in 2020, a stark revision from its earlier prediction of a global expansion by 3.3%. Italy's economy will shrink by 9.1%, worse than the 7.5% contraction expected for the Eurozone. The situation is especially dire because the country was already burdened with growing debt and a stagnant economy. At the end of 2019, Italy had nearly $2.7 trillion in public debt, while its economy grew by a mere 0.3%.
How much a month do you think you are losing or you've lost because of the lockdown?
€3,000 easily.
As the lockdown takes its toll on economies, many countries are hoping to ease the restrictions gradually, including Austria, Denmark, and Norway. But even as thousands of shops reopened in Austria, its government warned that the country is not out of the woods just yet. Despite having fewer infections and fatalities than its neighbors, the government is treading cautiously. The Alpine nation outlined a gradual reopening of the economy in mid-April, starting with garden centers, home improvement stores, and shops no more than 4,300 square feet, or the size of roughly 2 singles tennis courts. Austrians will still have to adhere to social distancing rules and are advised to wear masks when shopping. Whether Austria's plan to reopen the economy will leave a bitter aftertaste remains to be seen, but the World Health Organization's Director General has cautioned against opening too soon and risking a deadly resurgence of cases.
Lifting restrictions too quickly could lead to a deadly resurgence. The way down can be as dangerous as the way up if not managed properly.
But the Austrian Chancellor cited the need to fight for every job as the reason for pressing on with the reopening of the country's economy earlier than others. For most European countries, however, the end of the lockdown is still uncertain. But Jessica and Elena are already creating their to-do list for once they're out of quarantine.
We're gonna go out here in Venice and do what we used to do. That is, it seems like at that time normal, and now we'll enjoy so much, be together, have a meal, have a dinner, and walk around all Venice with no restriction.
The first thing I think it would be to go to the park, because they closed all the parks here. I don't know, I think it would be nice to just, in the sun, I miss the sun.
Take a walk, yeah.
Thanks so much for watching our video. Comment below and let me know if you're on lockdown too. And as usual, don't forget to subscribe.